if we want to live in a world where the sons and daughters of farmers get to grow up to be like teachers and architects and plumbers and doctors, which we do,
somebody else
right?
has to replace
we do
that.
want to do that because the opposite of that is some kind of indentured servitude. Then we need to live in a world where the sons and daughters of doctors and plumbers and architects get to be able to be farmers. And that is not how we've done things. Farming has been passed down intergenerationally and not taught as a profession. And so I think part of the thing that you're seeing with these place-based programs is how do you make something more professionalized in terms of the delivery mechanism for learning how to do it. Like when we want more lawyers, we send them to law school. And you can kind of send someone to farm school. 10 years ago, you couldn't really, and now you kind of can. And even though I ran a farm school, I'm like, it's not exactly like it would be better if it was more like as robust as medical school, and you had like more learning and more practice doing before someone was like, make it happen.
Make a business and make money on something that typically you get haggled for at best when you're trying to price something out, right? So you're like, I'm selling these radishes for $4 a bunch, and they're like, how about $2? And I'm like, really? Would you go like to any other business and just try to haggle down the price right now? Like, no.
Yeah. But I like for some reason, so many stereo.
I only want to pay half of it.
Right.
So no, like this doesn't work.
This is an unreasonable offer. This isn't even in the realm of possibilities. Yeah, that's a really good point.
And I think that opens up conversations around what we pay farmers and how we pay and price that out, and is there an opportunity for parity pricing or not, paying a living wage to farmers. But until we get there, then we're really going to have a hard time convincing people to get into agriculture. It's just,
and I think that's an expectation issue in the U.S. largely around the prices that we pay for food. So we have expectations that food should be very cheap, and as a result of that, it's hard to internalize the externalities. Like a lot of these environmental consequences are directly related to the fact that we really want the cheapest possible milk or beef or lettuce that we can get, and I think that is out of balance with what the environmental side needs are and what the farmer economic needs are, and I think we can do that. We can address that in a different ways, whether that's at a policy issue level, subsidy level, but you can't have the equation unbalanced in the way that it is, where you're saying we want everything as cheap as possible, but we don't want it to destroy the planet. Those things are probably not possible together in that way.
Where do you reach the younger generations? Because by the time that they're in college, they've likely made up their mind about a lot of things, right? And I think there are opportunities to expand once you get here, but how do you reach them when they're 5 years old, 10 years old, and build that interest so it's kind of ingrained in who they are?
If you cruise out to U of M and you say, how many of your high school guidance counselors that said, hey, you know what, you're really smart, you're really good at a lot of different things, I think you should farm. I think because that's the skill set that you need, but no, I don't think anyone's getting that career advice. I'm not saying they should get that advice. I think it's just a way to think about how we are still evolving and have yet to evolve to the place we need to be, how we think about who grows our food and how it's grown.
Yeah, there's a really interesting, I recruited for Peace Corps for a couple of years at U of M, and thinking through, okay, who would go into the agriculture sector? And there isn't that person that's like, I get a degree.
Anybody that you could get.
So then I'm finding myself asking people, did you grow up on a farm? Because if you grew up on a farm, you've got 10 plus years of experience and you're already qualified to be an ag volunteer wherever, versus someone that's coming in and no, but I grew a garden once or twice, or I'm trying to study it. How do you make up that 10 years of experience?
Right. There's a whole thing at MSU where we thought about having a program, because a lot of MSU undergrads that are going to the Peace Corps want to do ag for a couple of different reasons, but a lot of them don't have any experience, and so we were like, we kind of need a Peace Corps boot camp for ag volunteers, just to get them
similar
to
similar to Colorado State,
experience.
land grant ag university, but churning out students that don't necessarily have that experience.